The Village and the Whisper. The story begins in a remote village in Bengal, nestled beside a wide river. The river looked calm during the day, reflecting the golden sun like a mirror, but at night, the water turned black, swallowing every hint of light. For generations, villagers whispered about something unnatural that lived beneath the river's surface. Old men warned children never to wander near the banks after sunset. The elders said, "If you hear a woman calling your name from the river, don't answer. She's not human." Most young people dismissed the stories as superstition, until strange things started happening again. The return of Ayan. Ayan, a 26-year-old city boy, returned to the village after years of living in Dhaka. His father had recently passed away, leaving behind their ancestral home. Ayan planned to stay only a few days to handle property matters. The villagers welcomed him warmly, but their eyes carried silent warnings. One evening, an elderly man pulled Ayan aside and said, "Be careful, son. The river has taken many lives. It doesn't forgive arrogance." Ayan smiled politely, thinking it was just another old tale. But that night, sitting on the veranda, he heard something unusual, the sound of a woman crying faintly, carried by the wind from the river. The first encounter. Curiosity tugged at him. Against better judgment, Ayan walked toward the river. The moon was hidden behind thick clouds, making the path almost invisible. When he reached the bank, he froze. A woman stood knee-deep in the water, her long black hair covering her face. She was dressed in a white sari, torn and dripping wet. Who are you?" Ayan asked. The woman slowly raised her head. Her face was pale, her eyes glowed faintly, and her lips curled into a sorrowful smile. "I have been waiting for you." Before Ayan could react, lightning split the sky. When the flash ended, she was gone. Only ripples disturbed the river's surface. The curse of the river. Shaken, Ayan ran back home. The next morning, he asked the villagers about the woman. Their silence was heavy. Finally, an old woman spoke. "She was once one of us. Her name was Shila. Years ago, she drowned here. Some say her husband betrayed her. Others say she was murdered. But her spirit never left. At night, she walks the river, luring men to their deaths." Ayan laughed nervously, but inside he was unsettled. Why did she say she was waiting for me? The curse of the river. Shaken, Ayan ran back home. The next morning, he asked the villagers about the woman. Their silence was heavy. Finally, an old woman spoke. "She was once one of us. Her name was Shila. Years ago, she drowned here. Some say her husband betrayed her. Others say she was murdered. But her spirit never left. At night, she walks the river, luring men to their deaths." Ayan laughed nervously, but inside he was unsettled. Why did she say she was waiting for me? Signs of the haunting. That night, Ayan couldn't sleep. He heard soft footsteps outside his window. When he looked, no one was there, just shadows swaying under the moonlight. Later, his phone, though switched off, lit up by itself. On the black screen, faint letters appeared. "Come to me." Ayan's heart pounded. He knew it wasn't a dream. The river spirit was calling him. The story of betrayal. The next day, Ayan sought out the old woman again. He begged her to tell him everything. With trembling lips, she revealed the truth. Shila was a young bride, married to a fisherman. One stormy night, her husband pushed her into the river for another woman. She cried for help, but the waves swallowed her. Since then, her soul has cursed the river. She calls out to men, hoping one of them will take her pain away. But whoever answers, never returns. Ayan felt cold. The story was tragic, but he didn't understand why Shila had spoken as if she knew him. The night of the ritual. One desperate evening, Ayan turned to the village priest. The priest agreed to perform a ritual near the river to break the spirit's hold. At midnight, the ritual began. Oil lamps flickered along the bank, casting trembling shadows. The priest chanted ancient mantras, his voice rising against the howling wind. Suddenly, the river roared louder. A figure emerged from the water, Shila. Her sari floated unnaturally around her, her eyes burning with sorrow and rage. "You cannot take him from me," she screamed, her voice echoing like thunder. The priest threw sacred ash into the air. Shila shrieked, vanishing into the waves. The river calmed, but the priest collapsed, blood on his lips. "This is not over," he whispered with his last breath. The revelation. The next day, Ayan searched through his father's old chest. Inside, he found letters. His father had once been in love with a woman named Shila, before marrying Ayan's mother. The truth struck him like lightning. The ghost wasn't calling him randomly. She believed Ayan carried the blood of the man who betrayed her. She wanted revenge on the son. The final night. That night, Ayan stood by the river, holding the letters. The wind howled, and Shila rose once more, her hair whipping like black flames. "You carry his face, his blood, his lies," she hissed. Ayan held out the letters. "I am not my father. His sins are not mine." Shila paused, her eyes flickering with pain. For a moment, her ghostly form softened. But then, rage consumed her again. "No. Blood cannot escape its curse." She lunged at him, her icy hands reaching for his throat. The river surged upward, swallowing them both. The revelation. The next day, Ayan searched through his father's old chest. Inside, he found letters. His father had once been in love with a woman named Shila, before marrying Ayan's mother. The truth struck him like lightning. The ghost wasn't calling him randomly. She believed Ayan carried the blood of the man who betrayed her. She wanted revenge on the son. The aftermath. At dawn, villagers found Ayan's body on the bank. His eyes were open, frozen in terror. Strangely, his lips were curved into a faint smile, as if he had found peace in death. The river flowed silently, as if nothing had happened. But at night, villagers swore they saw two figures by the water now, Shila in her white sari, and a young man beside her. Together, they whispered, calling new names into the darkness. The curse had doubled.